Welcome to the Yara Technologies Vodcast series. Through this program, we bring short conversations with senior educators on contemporary topics related to education and education technology.
Welcome to the Yara Technologies Vodcast series. I'm Shara Osman. Through this program, we bring short conversations with senior educators in the preschool segment on contemporary topics related to education. So today, on behalf of Yara Technologies, I am delighted to have Mr. Kushan De Silva from Bankhill Educare Private Limited on our podcast program. Kushan De Silva is the Marketing Director at Bankhill Educare Private Limited. He has over 8 years' experience in education management. Further, he is currently a lecturer in the marketing at the Australian College of Business and Technology. Also, he has a master's in business administration and bachelor's in marketing. Thank you, Mr. Kushan, for joining the program.
Thank you, Shara. Thanks a lot for that introduction.
So the first question that I wanted to ask you is that, what are your views on blended learning model for preschool children? I mean, online and physical classes in this post-pandemic era.
Yeah. So basically, before talking about the blended learning model, Shara, I think we should also look into what we mean by the post-pandemic era. Now,
Sure.
Since 2020, right, we've been utilizing the online learning system as well. Our organization actually had to try the blended learning system as well after the first wave. Then the schools reopened, but we've been carrying the blended learning model then as well, right? Because we had some of the kids at home and some of the kids in our centers physically. So we've been running the blended learning system as well, right? So let me tell you the importance and how a particular blended learning model would basically fit in the short term. Now, when I say short term, we are looking at up until about 2022, 2023, because we, as educators, we've been impacted by the pandemic drastically, right? And we don't know when this would actually end. Thereby, we are looking up until about 2023 when it's a blended learning model, and it would play a significant part in our business module to go ahead with up until 2023. I'm not saying that after the whole pandemic's done, then we would not need. We could make arrangements for a blended learning system, and I will tell you how and why we would need a blended learning system. First up, short term, that is up until about 2023. Now, as you know, now as soon as the restrictions are opened up again after the third wave, the government is obviously going to come up with a certain set of guidelines. And like last time, I'm pretty sure they would, tell the preschool specifically not to have maximum capacity in a particular center. So we would obviously have to have a certain set of kids coming to the center physically. And then what happens to the other set of kids is we would obviously have to accommodate them online. So a good, proper mechanism. I'm not saying something to do with WhatsApp or Zoom, but a good mechanism, obviously, such as Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams for education, which is backed by good research and which is backed by good teaching techniques, would definitely play a vital role, right? Because we would have to accommodate all these restrictions. Another problem is the parents. Parents would be a bit skeptic, and it is understandable if their kids, right, sending to the centers physically, specifically in the short term. So we need to obviously cater to that particular clientele as well. So obviously that particular educational module that is transmitted to the kids who are joining online should obviously carry that context and the quality that we're doing at the center physically as well. So I think next 2 to 3 years, a blended learning methodology is going to be very important. And going forward, even later, right, with the new technology, I think we should be able to get more students, and we could also open up this particular blended learning system for students. Say if a student sick, or because I'll give you a good example. In our centers, we do not accommodate any kid with a cold, cough, a running nose, right, a fever. Certain instances, these cold coughs tend to run for about a week or so. And we see that in those instances, the kids are losing out a lot when it comes to coming to school. So if we could carry on with this, we could utilize this particular blended model to overcome that particular problem, to cater to that particular set of kids as well. Thereby, we could make sure that they don't miss out.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Kushan. So the next question is that some preschool owners, teachers, have told us that the retention of children has been a challenge. What are the things that help you to mitigate the risk?
All right. Now, if I tell you that, okay, we've overcome the retention problem 100%, I'll be lying to you, right?
Okay.
The pandemic has been a significant challenge for everyone in the industry. Say the preschool owners, the management, the teachers, everyone, including the parents, all stakeholders who are playing a part when it comes to preschool education is being, impacted as a result of the whole retention scenario, right? Now, when it comes to retention, Sarah, we should look into a methodology where we could reduce, where we could increase the retention rate and reduce the dropout rate when it comes to kids, right? So when it comes to retention or kids leaving a particular preschool, there are factors where we could actually, which is in our control. And there are factors which is not in our control as well. So we as an organization, we successfully mitigated this particular matter, right? Because of certain things. Let's tell you why. Now, as an example, if say a particular parent's finances or their monthly salary is cut drastically and they are finding it financially hard to come to a particular center, right? Now, that is not something that is controllable by us, but say our organization gave the parents a particular waiver as well as a particular grace period to pay those fees as well. But the controllability when it comes to that particular financial element is minimal from the organization side. But there are controllable factors, right? Now, say if a parent is leaving that particular preschool for a fact, saying that they're not satisfied with the program and they are not satisfied with the online program, then that is something that is obviously controllable from that is from the preschoolers end. So I will tell you, I would have to revert back a little bit to the start of the pandemic. Is that all right, Sarah?
Yeah, so no problem.
Oh, perfect. So now in March, right, when the whole lockdown started, we've actually not boasting, but we've been one of the first schools to get in track when it came to the online learning mechanism. Now, in March itself, what we did was we utilized Zoom and we basically communicated through WhatsApp. But that particular mechanism was understood to be not successful. Then we moved into proper platforms such as Google Classrooms. Unfortunately, at that given time, Google Classroom, the enterprise edition, wasn't available for us. So we had to, as soon as possible, move back into Microsoft Teams for Education, where we had support partners in Sri Lanka, and it was easy to roll it out. Now, for an organization of our caliber, where we run 4 centers, right, we cater to over 400, 500 students, a particular, ad hoc system would have not been the right thing to go ahead with. So we thought we need to definitely stick to a proper system, and thereby we chose Microsoft Teams for Education. And it's very understandable. Some go with Microsoft Teams for Education, and the others go with Google Classroom. And if a particular organization could get the Google Classroom Enterprise Edition, I think they would be. It has better options in comparison to Microsoft Teams as well. Said that, now most of our preschoolers, even higher education, as well as the schools, they become complacent as soon as they purchase a particular online platform, and they think that all their problems are, rectified at that given time. If we become complacent in that particular scenario, then our clients, that is the kids as well as their parents, they are not going to be satisfied, because we need to find a mechanism, Zara, to make the parent as well as the child satisfied. We need to get them involved, right? So what we did first was we actually spoke to all the parents in branches. So we segregated it into 4 branches. The management, the IT providers, the teachers, everyone sat together. We had a video conference and we had a chat with them. We looked at what their requests are. We tried to accommodate their requests as well, right? Then on a monthly basis, we reviewed the overall program, taking into consideration a certain set of parents who were willingly giving their input. And we understood, okay, this is what the parent is expecting from our, right? Now, I would give you a really good example. Even though the parents are at home, right? And even though the parents are at home, or some of the parents do go to work, the time frame that they could spend to prepare stuff, to do that particular online program is very minimal. And what we understood was the parents, some of the parents are so busy that they don't even have the time to cut and prepare the necessary paperwork that is needed for a particular activity. So what we did was we basically created the study pack. We made sure each kid gets all these papers, all the utensils cut, packed in, and we basically told the parents to collect it from the center. Whoever who's unable to collect it, we couriered it to them. So that way, the effort that the parents need to put prior to the session mitigated. It's minimal, so that they could then join. Then the parents are happy, right?
Yeah.
Because when the child, now see, if a particular parent is a housewife and if the other parent is a working mom, right? The child who has a housewife mom, right, has a greater chance. I'm not, discriminating anyone, but has a greater chance to be prepared for the session, while as the other parent might not have time. Now, if that particular parent and the child sees that, okay, that other student has it, they'll be disheartened, right? They'll be disheartened for a fact. So we made sure that that particular scenario doesn't occur. Also, what happens is now all 4 of our centers run their programs simultaneously. So we basically, what we do is, even though a particular set of teachers do the program, we have another set of staff who would be continuously measuring the success rate of that particular session. So we have someone to overlook each session. So, and that particular person who overlooks that particular session would be giving me the feedback in regards to how the particular session was carried out, whether the particular teacher was actually doing a good job or bad, and what are the areas we could improve on. And see, unlike university students or school kids, we're dealing with kids between ages of 2 to 6, 2 to 5. So we need to make sure that we basically keep them occupied,
Yes.
right? So we need to make it more interactive. They should like it. And we should never overcrowd these sessions with too many kids.
Yes.
Ideally, for a preschool per session, the maximum amount of kids should be 50, no more than that, right? So we understood those factors as well. And we basically tried to accommodate those elements going forward. So that's one thing where our online program became successful. That's the main reason the online program was success, I think. So that needs to happen. Whatever the school is, should not be complacent after purchasing a particular online platform. If that is the case, the client, the parent, the child is not going to be happy.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was very insightful, Mr. Kushan. Okay, so we'll talk about Bankhill. I'm sure like our audience would love to know about your preschool.
All right. So Bankhill Educare basically started in 2011, right? We've been in the industry for over 10 years now. We do have 4 centers. Our main center is in Colombo 7, that's the Ward Place branch. Then we have our Bakaramula branch. We have another one in Vassala, and our latest branch opened up in Kadawata. Now, as an example, most of our preschools in Sri Lanka use the AMI method, right? But we tend to focus on the EYLF framework. That is the early years learning framework. It's a more learning through play-based teaching methodology that we basically looked into, and our ratios are a little bit different from other schools. Now, when some of the schools basically, let's take an example, if the 2 to 3-year-olds, that is the toddler group, the ratio would be about 1 to 15. In another school, our teacher-child ratio would be about 1 to 5. So we are a little bit different when it comes to our practices, our management policies, and our methodology. So, and we basically believe that running the organization in an organizational context without basically looking at a preschool context have brought us where we are at the moment. So, yeah.
So thank you so much. So I would like to thank Mr. Kushan for participating in our podcast today and insightful discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks a lot, Sarah. Have a good day. Thank you.
Yara Technologies EdTech platform Talkative Parents connects schools, educators, parents and students via one integrated platform. The platform comprises of cross-channel communication, AI-driven data analytics, integrated e-learning, and online school fee payments. You can visit our website or social media pages for more information.